what I want to know is about the significance of the leis and all these, what do they call it, adornments?
Mm.
Because we understand leis as these gifts that you give to people, for graduation parties, when somebody gets off a plane and you go to Hawaii, got laid in Hawaii.
Yeah.
There's, there we see it as that. But and even when people ask me like, why did leis become a thing, like, you can talk about the significance of each plant that makes a lei what it is, but I honestly still don't even know like how it became a thing and what the significance of it is for our culture, besides, I don't know, to celebrate, or is it really just to make us look n- nicer? I'm sure there's a lot of layers to this, but if you could share what you know, that would be
There
awesome.
is this could take up the whole podcast.
Oh,
Because there
we
is
got time.
there is a lot of layers to lei making. And there's a lot of styles, not to be
Hmm.
confused with variations. There's a lot of styles. And today lei making has become a commodity that has been put on a shelf to be sold. And it's all about ho'onani nani ke kino. It has turned into that. And you see that, um, you can totally see that on social media. A lot of homemade businesses or bigger businesses who have made their business off of making lei. But if you take all that away and you rewind the tape and go back as far as you can go back with lei making. In lei making, there are a total of 8 styles. There's no more than that. Some people can argue and say 7. I beg to differ. There's 8. It's easy because the first 5 start with the letter H. Hilo, haku, hi pu'u pu'u, humu humu, hili. That's the first 5. Total different styles. Then the last 3 is kui, vili, and that's where usually some people stop. The 8th is right here, ni'ihau. It's another style. That's called niki'i.
Nikki.
Niki'i.
Nikki, I never
Which
heard of that.
is a tying.
Oh, it's like Naki'i.
Yeah, naki'i.
Oh, it's just like
niki.
a dialect.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so it's the same. There's a particular way to tie these to be able to make these lei, and that style is called niki'i. And so for grand total of 8, and every style has variations. Every style. So for example, the kui style, which is needle and thread, like the lei you're wearing, you can kui a flower a dozen different ways, which will give you a total different outcome, yeah, in terms of how the lei looks. That's variations. A lot of the styles have an abundance of variations, which comes to us by way of lei masters over the years. Over the years, this particular lei maker had ingeniously figured out a way to approach certain flowers or foliage that when you apply it to this particular style, you're able to come out with this outcome. And so all this information comes to us over the years by way of lei masters. And the earlier years, if we go back even further, like back to the days of Ali'i, we didn't have as much styles back then as we do today, because some of our styles are post-Western contact. So we needed some of that Western tools or that Western materials to be able to fashion certain leis. But pre-Western contact, the styles like the H's, the haku, the humu, the hipu'upu, all of these styles were specific to not so much hula as it was to offering, as it was for kahuna and what they would do when they go to heiau. And so those styles lent it themselves to that. Then we fast forward to post-Western contact, all these styles that we've taken from those days and we apply it to today. And then we're now able to use different materials with this style. And then that's what it has evolved to. A lot of people, talk about certain plants in lei, the use of certain miakanu in lei. Don't use this, don't use that. What this represents, what that represents. Hala, for example, lei hala. In the old days, a lei hala, it's in the name, yeah? We would use that for ho'oleva, for a funeral, because it's in the name. La'i, the red la'i, because that represents kapo ulakina. And so that also lends itself to ho'oleva. And so they would say, oh, you don't can use this because it represents this. I guess it depends where your mana'o falls in this day and age, yeah? Because we can still apply those to making lei and giving it at a ho'oleva. But today, we don't necessarily live in that time. You can aloha that va. But if you're going to live yourself accordingly to that va, I don't think you can make it in this day and age. And so today, I think it's fine to be able to wear, a red la'i or to wear lei hala. It's fine because it's not like you can put on lei hala and you're going to die tomorrow.
Hey, you don't know that.
Yeah. That's why they say live your life to your fullest. And if you're wearing a lei hala, then you're set to go.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, you just gotta know the risk you're taking when you wear the lei hala. Because hala in Hawaii means to pass. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know there were so many different styles and even I didn't know about the hala and all of that. But it makes sense because it's in the name. But it's one of those things you just don't really think about unless you really look into the etymology of it. But for something like the haku, I want to talk about that because I think there's a real big common misconception about leipo'o and haku, right? Can you kind of break down this right now? Because I really want to post this clip on social media and like hopefully educate everybody because everyone's like, oh, that's a nice haku.
Yeah, so haku is a style, yeah? It's not to be confused with what I'm wearing on my head. I don't know how people got confused, but it doesn't help when you have businesses advertising it as a haku as well. But haku is a 3-braid. You take in, and traditionally we take la'i. We take 3 strips of la'i, put them together, and then we braid. And then as you're doing this 3-braid, you're binding in ingredients. So palapalai, lehua, whatever you can bind in. And that is what you call haku. It's the act of plating and binding different ingredients into a lei.
And haku literally means to create.
And the moment, if I even the haku style, haku and hili are 2 similar styles because they're both braiding styles. They're both 3 braiding. So if I, for example, took la'i, and if I just did a 3-braid with only la'i, that would be called hili. Because hili is specific to one ingredient. So if you take one single ingredient and you do the 3-braid, that's called hili. So, one of the popular lei po'o or lei that you see dancers, especially the ones that do the lu'aus for the hotels, that they use the lei po'o with the la'i, the tips.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Like kind of like the crowns, yeah. It's like the tips.
So some of them, they're already wrong by saying that it's called a haku. And then some will say that's haku tea, I've heard that, or haku la'i. But technically, That's hili
Mm.
because there's only tea leaf. If you only do one ingredient, one single ingredient, it's called hili. The moment you put something else other than the braiding ingredient, that's haku.
Mm. Would it be vili too because you're twisting it, or
No,
that's just something else?
no. Vili is when you bind,
Mm.
which is what this one is.
Yeah.
This is done in a vili style. And so getting back to the haku misconception and versus lei po'o, it's important to know that haku is a style. It's a 3-braid, taking different ingredients, binding them into the lei as you braid, creating this lei that then when you're finished, if you wear it on your shoulders, it's called a lei a'i. If you wear it on your head, it's a lei po'o. But not for one moment is it called a haku. Because if, for example, your lei, it's done in the kui style,
Mm.
I wouldn't come up to you and say, "Oh, nice, your kui." That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mahalo for sharing that. I hope you guys take note. And, if you're ever confused, is it a haku or po'o? You haku the lei. I mean, it's a haku or lei. You haku the lei.
Yeah. It's
That's what you
the
got to
act
think.
of
Yeah.
making.
You make the lei. And then what you put on is the lei po'o.
Yes.
So haku ika lei. Make the lei.
Yes.
Create the lei.
Yes.
You got
Lei
it.
po'o,
Yeah.
lei a'i, ku pe'e.